you guys hear her clearly? I can hear you, so I think it's okay.
Yes,
There we go.
everybody can hear.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, they can.
All
Are
right.
you able to see their comments and see the stuff that they're saying in the chat?
Now I cannot see comments, so you're gonna have to tell me what the comments are because it's not showing that on the phone.
Okay. I'm seeing some
So
black
you'll
fist
have to tell me the
emojis
comments.
and some fire emojis for Miss Lizzy. So they are happy to see and
Thank
hear
you,
you.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as you can tell, I'm on the road heading back towards the house after watching Thor because it was a good movie, very good movie.
Good, good, good. Well, thank you for being available and coming on kind of at the last minute. We're definitely gonna redo this when you're in your office and situated. Uh, but thank you for being available.
You're welcome. Anything for a fellow person out here trying to help people get with the Scrum program.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Lizzy, what we were gonna talk about tonight was gonna be about pivoting in your career and about negotiating your salary to get what you're worth, right? And
Mm.
so, what a lot of people that I kind of run into are struggling with are that they believe that they are underpaid and they believe that they have the ability to do more, but either one, they don't know what they don't know, right? So they don't know what it is that they can do to be able to earn more. And if they want to increase their income, they have to also increase their skill set, right? And so I know for you, being someone who's gone through a lot of different things in your life, we probably won't get into it on tonight's episode, but we'll definitely save it for a future episode. I know that you have been forced to make a lot of pivots in your career, and I know that the growth that you've seen in your salary and your earning, probably from the very beginning of your entry into corporate, has just been exponential as far as the growth. And so, what would you say are some of the things that have helped you um, on this path to increasing your income, but also increasing the value that you bring to organizations?
Well, first thing is never being afraid to apply for a new job
Mm,
because a lot of times the company you're in is not going to give you the kind of raise you can get if you just switch to another organization. It's faster to take your income up by making a job switch.
mm,
That's definitely your fastest way to do anything if you do that. Um, then, secondly, I would say it's finding the skills that are going to allow you to look attractive
mm,
because you want to be able to present yourself to people, but if they don't see the skills on the resume, it doesn't give you the opportunity to be able to present. So it's being one, ready to pivot, and then number two is when you make that pivot has got to in many cases be a total different company. And
mhm,
then while you're doing that pivot, ensure that you make sure you upskill.
mhm.
And I always say the first place to upskill, and you probably did lists like me, is go with Google and the internet before you even start to spend money.
Right.
So understand what's out there and understand what it is that you should be using and what you need to be going for. So you start to learn the lingo, you start to understand how that could be applicable to you. So then when you can go take that class, you can go take that certification, you're actually ready for it.
Got you. Got you.
Right? Makes a big difference, makes a huge difference. Lately, I've seen a very big shift due to all the TikToks and Instagram videos about the Scrum Master being the entry path to be able to get you into six-figure income. But people are coming in so cold, right, into the class. It's very hard if they don't have an instructor who's patient and very skilled in making things simplified for that course to be truly of great value to them.
Mm, mm. Okay. So start with the internet. Okay. Looks like we've lost her, or maybe she'll come back. But for sure, I would say that was one of the things that I did is you want to start with the internet and look into which career paths, or certifications are best for you and best for your situation, right? You want to understand
Right.
what the industry is looking for and which career fields and certifications are potentially um, in demand at the moment, right? And so once
Hmm.
you've done that, then you can let that guide you on the decision that you make. Because you're correct. I see a lot of people that I consult with that make decisions to pivot. They make the decision first before doing the research, right?
Right. And it's
They
necessary to do that research.
right. They invest time, money, and energy, maybe in a career path that is either going to yield them the same result or the same type of salary that they previously had, and they don't spend that time first understanding the market and where it's headed first, and then making the decision.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's happening a lot. And then people are getting disappointed and wanting to say whatever certification they've taken the certification was bad. And it's
Right.
not that certification was bad, but what is the point of me going out and buying all the tools in the world to be able to put together a house and I don't know anything about foundations,
Right. Absolutely.
but I'm going to go build
Absolutely.
a house?
Right.
Right? And that's what a lot of people are trying to do because, again, we've got to remember that when you're watching TikTok and
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, people are putting things out to get likes, to get people to give them fires, etc. They're not putting it out there with the true intention of, let me really inform you about this path.
Right.
So you just hear the end state and you don't hear the journey. And that's the
Right.
part that people are missing, that there's a journey. You don't just, do you know what I mean? You don't have a Bifrost and you're
Right.
suddenly just going to be there and, you understand? Woo, I'm here, I'm qualified, I know what I'm doing, I can, master this interview. No,
Right.
there's no Bifrost with this. You got to take the journey. And so then you want to do research, find people who can help you with that journey. People like yourself, right? That people can get in contact with to help them with the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So then now you can actually get to where it is you're trying to get to. That's important.
Right. Okay. Um, Lizzy, if people want to hear more about your journey or follow you, where can people connect with you at?
You can connect with me at beardedeagle.com. Go to the website, go to team at Bearded Eagle, send me an email, or go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is probably a slightly faster way to reach me. And there's things that, like, I'm part where people are going to be able to hear my story and understand. A lot of people look at the ending and think you're going to get to a place where you become immune from pivoting.
Right.
What we teach about transparency, inspection, and adaptation, this is a life thing. And there are
Absolutely.
always going to be challenges that you are going to have to hone in and master this skill of
Right.
inspecting and adapting. I mean, mastering that skill. If you master that skill, it doesn't matter what comes along your way, you're going to eventually be okay, right? And when I say eventually, because sometimes you go through these really tight areas, and if you don't know how to apply those steps of inspecting and adapting and looking at all the information around you and making the best, I use this phrase, what's your next best move? You've
Right.
got to be able to make your next best move, the next best one. It may not be the perfect move, and you're not looking for the perfect move, you're looking for your next best move. And as long as you keep in what I call forward trajectory, like
Mm-hmm.
Nike said, just do it.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Do it and inspect and adapt and keep doing and inspecting, adapt and keep doing. And you'll have enough information that is going to land you at your ideal outcome.
Perfect.
But it's not overnight. So if that's one myth we can bust with people, this is not an overnight game. This one is a marathon,
Gotcha.
right? And there are people you can hold on to and you can connect with, that you can use the speed that they've already achieved
Mm.
as your speed,
Right.
right? So where they are, you get to pivot based off them because of the connections. So don't be frightened of making connections with people who are already in the industry. Understand that when you come into this industry and you're not the norm package, you are going to encounter a lot of pushback.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to always have to dig in and understand, even when people don't know they're biased against you, because you may be female coming into this, or you're people of color, or you're somebody who has a different type of people you like to love and hang around with. Understand people are going to be biased against you and just be ready for that. Don't take that for a place to be bitter from, but
Mm-hmm.
take that for a place to be brighter from. And what I
Mm.
mean by being brighter, allowing the light of who you are, your skill sets, your passion, the beauty that is you as a human, to shine no matter what. Because if you learn how to hone in The light that is the value of you will shine so bright, it will push out all the darkness of everybody else who's trying to be around you
Mm,
and numb you down. It doesn't matter what comes up against you. If you're going with the right intention for the right purpose, you're going to win.
love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Lizzy. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. We're gonna get some time on the calendar, if not this month, then early next month, so that we can bring you on and get your full story and hear more from you. But thank you so much, Lizzy. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful
You're
evening.
welcome. You're welcome. Everybody take care and stay on the journey. Stay on the journey. Don't quit.
Peace. Thanks.
Take care.
All right, all right, all right. What's going on, beautiful people? So we were able to work through our complications, and we were able to get our guest Christy online. She's waiting in the green room patiently. Um, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and bring her on. We're gonna get into this conversation. If you guys have any questions, you guys can feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I've dropped a link for Bearded Eagle as well as for Lizzy's LinkedIn page in the chat, so you guys are welcome to connect with her there. And so now, without further ado, let me bring on Miss Christy Rutherford. Christy, how are you doing? Let's get you off mute first. Let's get you off mute. It says you're muted.
I muted myself because I was
There you
coughing
go.
in the background. I thought we were on at 7. I was like, your time looked more official than mine. Like I had a 6 o'clock and a 7 o'clock, and I was like, oh, okay, the 7 o'clock looked more official. Anyway, we're gonna get this started. My bad. Hey
It's
y'all.
cool. It's cool. It's cool. How you doing today?
I'm phenomenal. I went to go see Thor. Lizzy said, I love Lizzy, by the way. Lizzy said, we don't have a Bifrost. I was like,
I
oh,
know, right? The Marvel references. I love it. I love it. I
yeah.
love it. So we connected in Miami
Uh-huh.
at Black Equity Con.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been watching you online for a while. I've got one of my students that went through my program. That's like, yo, there's this career coach on LinkedIn, and she's amazing. She's like coaching these women, and she getting them like 50,000, 100,000, $200,000 more on a salary that they negotiate, and she's amazing. Like, y'all need to connect, right? And this had to be like 2 years ago that I had this
Oh,
conversation with
wow.
this young man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've been watching quietly and patiently, and so it just seemed like fate when I saw you down. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta meet her. I gotta have a conversation with her. I gotta kind of dig into her mind and
Oh, well, yay. I'm
introduce you to my
excited.
community. So yeah, I'm excited as well, Chrissy. So, Christy, for those who don't know you or your story, um, I want to take people back, right? So, tell us about your time in the military.
Which part? That I'm an American hero? Or, I mean, which part you want to hear? Or you want to hear the bad times? You want to hear the good times? I mean, which
I
one
need to
you
hear
want?
all of it. So how old were you when you enlisted? Let's start there.
I wasn't enlisted. I was an officer. So I actually joined while I was in college.
Hmm.
They had a minority recruiting program.
Hmm.
And so I joined. And then when I graduated, I ended up going to officer school. And then I served 2 years on a ship chasing drug runners in the Caribbean. Then I moved to Virginia, Houston. I worked on Capitol Hill for the late great Elijah Cummings, and then I moved back to Texas, Port Arthur, Texas. I hated my whole life. At about 14 years, so I stayed there for 2 years, and then I resigned with 2.5 years left to retire with the full pension. I would have retired in 2016, but I
Hmm.
didn't. I didn't finish the race, so that's
Well,
mine.
I would say that maybe you didn't finish the race, but maybe you found a better race, right?
Well, I didn't finish that race, right? But I did in my working 80 hours a week and being a workaholic and mentoring 90 black officers at the time. So a lot of
Mm.
the senior officers, a lot of the senior black officers in the Coast Guard today, I directly mentor them. So I've been in the game, with career coaching for a long time. I
OG.
became the 13th black woman to make commander in the Coast Guard's 230 plus year history.
Mm.
So I'm a rock star. I went to Katrina. I did some responses. I saved some people. It's good.
I love it. I love it. So what was it in college? Was it your plan to go into, it's my son,
Kids
Miss
have
Victor
no
the
chill.
second,
No
right?
chill.
He doesn't care. He's like, what show? Son, what do you need?
Kids have no chill.
They
None.
have no chill. They don't care. He wants his tablet
Turn
turned
the
on.
baby iPad on. Turn the baby
It's
iPad on.
it's dead,
Hey,
son. It's dead. It's not charged. I'll charge it
go
for
what
you.
the
And then
charger at for the baby? Go charge it. Why you? Oh. Ah! Hey, my niece, I was doing an international keynote where I was paid good money.
yeah,
12 is people in China, India, 12:30. My niece would not go to bed.
yeah.
12:30. She gonna come downstairs to my Auntie Christy. Are you gonna take me to get some donuts? I was like,
Hey, this pandemic done spoiled these kids.
hey, 12 midnight. This chick would not go to bed. She gonna ask for some donuts. I was like, what in the world?
That's
What
hilarious.
was
So
the
I was asking you, did you know that you always wanted to go into the military and serve in that capacity, or did you have a different plan when you went to college?
No, I'm a troublemaker. So when I went to college, a part of the journey was I was a broke college student. These rich
Hmm.
college kids now, they got their nails done, they got heels.
They
I don't know
going
where they
out.
come from. They got hair, like they got cars, computers, flat screens. I mean, I went to college in the 90s. So
Yeah.
we were some broke college students
Right.
eating
Right.
ramen noodles and drinking the red juice, that
Yeah.
has no nutritional value. So I had a friend who ended up going to the Coast Guard, and I wrote her letters while she was at boot camp, but I didn't know what it was. And so
Hmm.
all I know is she came back to college driving a Mitsubishi 3000 GT. That is all I know. And I said, I gotta hey, they must be paying real good because we some black college students. You driving a sports car? They don't
Right.
make them anymore. That's how old we are. But yeah, so that's why I joined. I joined for the money,
For the
and then I
money.
stayed because I enjoyed it. I mean, I joined. The commitment was 3 years.
Hmm.
What I loved about it, even though it was challenging. I mean, I was one of, at the time when I resigned, 50 black women officers out of 47,000 people. So probably when I joined, you probably had 20, 20, 21, if black women officers out of 47,000 people. So when you walk in a room, they've never really seen another black person in uniform, whether enlisted or officer. It was 300 officers out of, so the demographic, I think we were 0.6%
Hmm.
overall with black, and then 0.1% with my demographic being a black woman.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's the same thing when you walk in corporate. It's the same challenges for lawyers. So, walking in a room,
Hmm.
you're going to have a challenge, but I loved it because it was unpredictable. It
Right.
was, we're out saving people, we're chasing drug runners, um, and actually when I did want to leave, let me stop playing. I did want to quit
Okay.
around the third or fourth year,
Hmm.
but I am developing arthritis. I was almost crippling in a wheelchair. I was 25, and it
Wow.
was stress induced, rage induced arthritis from being harassed by some white boys. And so I couldn't leave. So let me clean that up a little bit. Let me go back in my memory because that's some stuff I ain't talked about in a long time.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
wanted to leave, but I couldn't leave because we had 100% medical coverage in the military. So why I can't leave the very same organization that is creating my medical condition because I needed the insurance. I needed the 100% medical coverage. My medication was about $8,000 a month. So the very same organization that was creating my stress induced arthritis and my medical condition was the one that I needed the 100% medical coverage to pay for the medicine to
Catch
treat
22.
what
They
they
put you in a
created.
trick bag. Wow.
Huh?
So I said they put you in a trick bag. Like it's a catch 22. You can't like.
Yeah. So
What
you
are you
don't know
gonna?
what's gonna happen. I'm crippled. I'm
Right.
25. Like, and I cried for a year.
Hmm.
What was me for a year? Felt sorry for myself for a year, and then after crying for a year, I said, this ain't my story. I always knew I was gonna be somebody. Right?
Right. For sure. For sure.
I
So,
can't. I can't go out like this. So
so what was the catalyst, or what was the day that you made the decision? Like, no, I'm gonna leave. because I'll tell you, I've got a cousin that is, man, he's gonna be upset at me for forgetting his rank. I think he's like a captain or something. He's in the Air Force. He's over in Germany. What's
Yeah.
after a captain?
How many years he been in?
Since probably like 2000 and maybe 5 or 6, something like that.
So he's about 18 years. So he's either a major or a lieutenant colonel. It's all right.
He might be a major. He might be about to be a major.
It's the gold star.
Maybe somewhere in Germany, right? But similar thing, like, you know, there are times when you feel like you want to leave, but like the benefits are so good, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's so many other things that come along with it, and also being you know, a lot of time one of the only black faces in a room or only black faces at a conference, like that can take a toll on you. And so what was kind of the catalyst for you that made you say, you know what, I need to make this decision, I need to make this pivot to leave here and move on to the next chapter of my life?
Let me tell you something. You don't leave a good 6-figure check at 16 and a half years left to retire with a full pension in the military unless you running away batshit crazy.
Right.
Can I cuss on your show? Let's be clear.
Let's do it.
I ran away. I had to run for my life like Tina Turner ran from Ike in that white suit. Okay.
Wow.
So the thing about it was, I knew that if I didn't leave, I was going to die within a year. If I had a year, either I was going to stroke out, I was going to have a heart attack, but death was imminent had I stayed. And here's the thing: sisters and brothers work ourselves to death in a job. Absolutely. You find out what is really worth, you know, hanging or you know, not managing these toxic situations properly. Sisters are developing cancer at 35 and 42, dying because we fight with people at work. I don't think that we're adequately prepared to be able to manage the wolves in the workplace whenever we get there, as whether you're a first gen person from a different country, or your parents are from a different country, or you're from a different country, or you're black. Women catch it all the time, but you know, I left batshit crazy, so that's why I left. And if I didn't leave, I was going to die, or I was going to jump on my boss. So I was so irrational. Facts. I was so irrational that I'm a super rational person. I'm the person who's been reading self-help magazines since I was 12. I'm the person that people call for advice when they need a rational voice. I'm witnessing myself be irrational. And my arthritis came back. So I put it in remission when I was 25. It took probably about after a year crying, it took about six months to figure out what was the trigger for the arthritis. So then I ended up putting it in remission for 12 years, and it came back. So my body was sending bells and alarms and, you know, red flags, and arthritis came back, and I had headaches, and I had flu-like symptoms for every 2 weeks for 4 days. I'm in the emergency room. I got my tonsils taken out. My back is hurting. My neck is hurting. I felt like somebody was squeezing the sides of my head, like the side of my head, gonna squeeze the side of my head like it was going to pop. Like I woke up with a headache. I went to bed with a headache. And so I was on my way out. And so I had to make the decision. And what's interesting is I was so irrational and so crazy. And I'm now looking for people to give me permission to save myself, but nobody would. Everybody was like, well, Christy, what is the organization going to do when you leave? And I'm like, but what about me? You know? And then they would be like, well, you can't leave because you're too close. Or they wouldn't even listen to my suffering. They would be like, Christy, well, that's nothing. Listen to what happened to me. So nobody was acknowledging my pain. And so I talked to a lot of women where we're looking for people to support us in our decision. Like we know we're dying. Let's be clear.
For sure.
But we're looking for other people to support us in doing the unthinkable, which is make a decision to save ourselves. And nobody's going to do that. And I had two friends. They were like, man, just go. Just run away. Just go. Because we don't even know who you are anymore. I have become so far removed from who they remembered in the good times that they were like, man, let's go. And I ran for my life, baby. I'd run for my life. So.
Wow. So what did that run look like? What did you running look like? What did you do in that time that you kind of went into hiatus?
How you telling all my business in these streets? But we rock with it. So I ended up joining this network marketing company and Organo Go. I still drink the coffee to this day, wishing I had me a latte in this moment. But I remember meeting this guy, and I was in Port Arthur, Texas, and there's a lot of oil refinery workers. And I'm not knocking oil refinery workers, but I was used to being in DC with the suits. Does that make sense? And now I'm around, people in blue coveralls.
The grunts.
And so I saw this guy's, huh?
The grunts.
I mean, I ain't gonna call them grunts, but it's just blue, blue collar. And
Right.
so I saw this guy driving a Mercedes, and he had this nice suit on, and I'm like, that's what I'm used to. I hate my whole life. I hate it here. I hate my job. I hate my personal life. I'm at work from 6:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. And so I met this guy, and he was so happy. I was disgusted. Like, I'm happy right now. People hate it. I was disgusted at how happy and free he was. And he told me he sold coffee. And then I was like, man, get the F out of here. I don't care about no coffee. But the next day, I woke up that morning, I was like, you know what? If he's that happy,
Right.
I don't care what he's selling. I want it. And so I joined a network marketing company. Network marketing, everybody rich. You can get rich in 2 months.
Right.
And you're going to replace my $100,000 salary in 2 months. And so I ended up resigning 2 weeks later. And it was our 10-year anniversary of when I met him in April. So I didn't get to send him that text, be like, oh my God, it's our anniversary. But every year when Facebook message pops up, I'll be like, man, thank you so much for saving me. But, that was a journey out, because I started to look at, even though I wasn't, I didn't get rich, right? I thought I was. I'm a millionaire in 2 months selling coffee. I saw a different reality that was possible for me. Like, I saw all of these super happy, free, and really what it was personally developed people in a room, a bunch of Black people in a room that were actually happy, and there were no egos, and they were, it was no chest bumping, and that was magical to me. So it was like, okay, I go to them and they're my oxygen. And then I go back to work into the darkness. And then I go back into this room with all these highly personally developed, happy people. And then I go back to darkness. And so after 2 weeks, I resigned. I worked with that company for probably about 18 months before I completely fell apart. And this is the thing. I did not adequately take care of my mindset. I was chasing the money. Right. And I thought if I got the money, I would be okay. But I did not acknowledge. And so I love to tell women, you better not need a good job for entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is, it will show you who you really are. Right. And so entrepreneurship requires 120% brain capacity. I left burned out, so I had 2% brain capacity. So I went smash. So after 18 months, I ran out of money, blew through my $100,000 I saved, because I'm bougie. And I was a $100,000 earner. And so I ended up moving in with my brother, because I had it's a decision that you can make. It's a fork in the road. Like, am I going to, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I am batshit crazy. Let's be clear.
Help.
Let's be clear. I am so far, I'm batshit crazy, and I don't know how I'm going to get back. I knew it. So this is the call of, the call of God. Will you come get saved? Will you come get healed? Or I could take one of the 20 and it ended up being 36-figure job offers that I was offered. Because are you going to stay the same and stay in the darkness, or are you going to go and chart your own path and go figure out what's going on? And there's a lady that has this quote that says something like, I'm on a new path, and not knowing where it leads encourages me to search for it, right? And so I ended up moving to my brother, thinking I'm gonna be rich in 2 months selling coffee. And once I really, stopped long enough to figure out and look in the mirror, Napoleon Hill has a quote where it says, if I had the courage to look in the mirror to see who I truly am, then I will find out what is wrong with me and fix it, as opposed to building alibis to cover my misfortunes. And so if I had the courage to look in the mirror to see how who I truly am, well, I had to look in the mirror and be like, you crazy. And so then I fell apart. It took me 3.5 years to put my mind back together again, to emerge out of my brother's house. And I think that I reached a point of, I think in that second year that I was at the bottom of the ocean, and I think I died. I thought I died 5 times. I kept waking up because I don't know. I'm so broke now, right? I have nothing. I don't have a house. I have a car. I don't have any money. Every business that I launched, God, squashed it. I can't go work at McDonald's. I'm Christy Rutherford. I'm the 13th Black woman to make, Commander in the Coast Guard's 230 year history. I got an MBA. I got this award. I got that award. Um, and so there was some super, super, super deep moments of suffering, but then there was also awakening, and then there's also freedom because I learned in those dark moments, one, who my real friends were,
Mm.
and then two, what, how we get this so wrong where we're chasing these assets and we are abusing the most valuable asset, which is our body.
Right.
We're working 80 hours a week thinking that our company can't survive without us, but if we die, they're gonna roll you out the way and put somebody else in there. So
Quickly.
we have become accustomed to suffering and hanging around people who don't have our best interests at heart and mess around and call them friends. So I started to learn really and discover the truth about how I wanted to feel and how I got it so wrong. So that's why I live 100% authentically in who I am and don't give a rat's sense about how people feel about it. Because once you don't die when you go broke, and you don't die if you lose all your money.
Right, right. You can still live broke, right?
Your mom be playing tricks on you though. So but you won't die. It
Right,
feels like you won't die.
right.
And so that's why I'm passionate about what I do, because the same arguments and volunteering and worrying about DEI and all these things that I did 10, 15 years ago, women still talking about that today. I'd be like, sis,
This is not new.
I did that already. I'm telling
Right,
you it don't work.
right.
I'm telling you it does not work. Let it go and go live your life and be happy. Take that money, right?
Yeah.
Work 40 hours a week. Why am I working 80 hours a week complaining about a man who working 30? I should be working 30 with him. But no,
Right.
no.
I'm trying to beat them. I'm trying to show them.
I'm going to work 80 hours a week, and I'm going to complain about everybody who goes to the golf tournaments, the basketball tournaments, and they work 30 hours a week. I'm mad at them. I should be mad at myself. Because that's not the path to promotion.
Right.
Yeah.
So speak to that, right? And that leads us to your program and kind of the work that you've been doing. So, what is the path to promotion? Because you talk about helping. What is your total up to now, right? On LinkedIn it says 10 million, but what is the actual total?
It's 10 million.
Okay, 10 million. So you've helped women get promoted.
10 million raises in a pandemic in the past 2 years, June 2020.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what is the secret? Like what is this sauce that you have packaged and are now able to like sprinkle on other people and their career journey to help them make this leap that so many women weren't aware of previously?
One, stop making your job your everything. Your job is a job is a job is a job. Like, women have become accustomed to making our job. Single women, we make our job 100%. Married women making their job, they 90%. Their kids get 8%. Their husband get 2%. We get nothing. So making ourselves a priority and making our mental and our physical health a priority, that's the first thing that we do. And actually, I would just say this: the first thing that we do is acknowledging that you're crazy. Right? Like, let's start there. Okay, Victor? Let's start there. One, sis, I used to be you. I know you're hiding all of that brokenness under that Mac and that Chanel and that Prada and that Gucci. That ain't working. You going to Greece to get the picture with now they got the flow dress where you got the dress with the train a mile behind you and they blow the fan and you pay $5,000. Yeah, to go get that one shot to put on the gram, but you're not working on your mindset, sis. Let's acknowledge you crazy, but I can help you. You don't have to die this way. That's one. The second part is now once you acknowledge, because you can't change what you're unwilling to acknowledge.
Right.
And the thing about it is we can't change what we don't feel. We are so numb to life. We got 1,000 hours in our back, and trying to manage your critics becomes a whole full-time job. That's what I did with my other 40 hours when I wasn't sleeping. But like we're so numb to life from the neck down, and all we do is operate in our headspace. So you can't change what you want to acknowledge and what you don't feel. And so it's like, you deserve to live better. We got all these degrees, we're making all this money. we checked all the boxes that people said that we needed to be successful, and now we still feel like we have nothing. So make yourself a priority, and then that's where the work begins. And the real work is, who told you you ain't gonna be nobody? Who told you that you weren't gonna make it? Because the fighting at the job is just a continuation of what was happening for 15, 20 years before you even got a job. Who told you when you were 5 years old that you would never amount to much? Who told you when you were 10, that you might as well just go have 10 babies and hang it up, right? Like, so we're fighting long before we get to work. Work is just a continuation of the story that, we're fighters, we're survivors. So the work is just a continuation of that. And you can only fight so long before you're going to collapse.
Absolutely. So
that's the real.
So what I'm hearing is like a lot of this really boils down to mindset.
It's all mindset. Not a lot of it. It's all mindset. Because I put something on Facebook one day. I test some of my best material on Facebook before I put it on LinkedIn, because Facebook can tell you. But I put, microaggressions is just somebody triggering your unhealed trauma. Boy,
what they
this
say.
DEI lady let me have it. I was like, I don't give a ish what you talking about. I said what I said. So a lot of the microaggressions that people have, the person that you hate the most at your job just reminds you of your primary caregiver and unhealed trauma that you didn't solve. So you fight with your brothers at work every day and your raggedy coworkers. You fight with your mom with the toxic woman. So I had one client who was like, every job she went to, she had a toxic woman boss. And I said, okay, when you got toxic women energy in your family, tell me about it. Well, me and my mom don't get along. Her and her mama don't get along. Me and my daughter don't get along. And now my daughter and her granddaughter don't get along. And I said, okay, so you got 5 generations of toxic women energy in your family.
Wow.
So it's no wonder that every job that you go to, you're going to have a toxic female leader. Is not them. You walking around with the skeletons. And then it was one lady that I talked to. She chose not to work with me. That's okay. But I let her have it. She wasn't ready for the truth. But she was like, every job that she goes to, she gets sexually harassed, right? And so she has to leave her job every 2 years. Now, this was like, she was 50 something. So this is like 30 years. I said, man, you ain't that fine. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You ain't nobody that fine. Like, you gonna get harassed every job that you go to for 2 years. So what happened was that was her dad. So you waking up with your skeleton dancing in the Thriller video. Am I breaking up, or is just my camera? Can you hear me clearly on the audio?
It broke up for a second, but it looked like it sounded like it's back. Okay. You good?
I don't know what's going on with this Bahamas internet. I do live on the beach, so don't nobody really care. Oh my God, I got slow internet. I live in the Bahamas on the beach. I watch cruise ships every day. But the thing about it was she carried this unhealed trauma from her father everywhere that she went. In 15 jobs, the constant was her. But the constant story that she was telling herself was, these men are going to sexually harass me. Then she gets sexually harassed because, Earl Nightingale says, everything that you think about, you become what you think about most of the time.
For sure.
It's simple law of attraction. So she created a self-fulfilling prophecy for 30 years. I was like, man, you ain't that fine. I mean, you all right, but ain't nobody that fine. You're going to get harassed at every job. But she wanted to become the victim, and she played the victim. And a lot of people will support you in that narrative. I ain't trying to hear that. So
I like that. It's kind of my mindset too, right? We're not going to have a pity party. Like, what can we do to change our trajectory, right? We've got really the power of the universe in our hands and in our tongue, and really it's what are we doing to change our outcomes, right? Because if we sit still and we allow our outcomes to happen to us, they will happen to us every time. But what are you doing to affect that change? That's really powerful. One of the things I saw that you posted online on LinkedIn, I've been following your content on LinkedIn as well. You post a lot of really great stuff. You know what? Let me post a link to your page in the chat so that everybody can connect with you on here.
Join me in this head kicking every day. I love it.
Tell me about, you made a post about people getting turned down for jobs that they are overqualified for, right?
Yep.
Tell me about the method behind the madness. Why is it that people, I guess, play themselves like low, play themselves short?
So if you grew up without money,
Hmm.
right? You'll take the easy jobs because you know what it's like to be hungry. You know what it's
Right.
like to be cold. You know what it's like. You watched your mom work, 3 jobs to be able to make it. So what you say to yourself is, I'm never going to be my mom. I'm going to work harder, but I'm going to make more money. But see what you're comparing yourself to.
Right.
Your mom was making $20,000. I got women who making $300,000. Don't know that they actually have money. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Because in their minds, they're working themselves to death to ensure they never go back, that they're never hungry again.
Right.
Or they'll make $120,000 because they can't lose a job, so they play safe. And I just ask for 120 as opposed to 575. Does that make
Mm.
sense? So
Mm.
I'm just going to make sure I have a job so I can have nuts stored up for the winter. But I'm not going to go and play bigger because that's a bigger risk, and I just need to be safe.
Right.
And I'm safe now with my job. I'm safe now with my small house. I'm safe now with the money that I've saved and the nuts that I've stored for the winter because I don't want to be my mom.
Hmm.
So it's like, but your value is 575,
Mm.
but they're only asking for 120, and they think the come up is 125. I'd be like, come on, man, like what are you talking about? So a part of it is just like I talked about earlier, is like get into the narrative, and I call it, trauma default. Trauma default. I got a trademark. So good. What's your default response to trauma?
Right.
What's your and look, work is traumatizing. Leadership is stress. What is your default response to taking a risk? What is your default response to stress? What
Right.
is your default response to when somebody says that you deserve more? You automatically be like this, no, because I got to be safe.
Mm.
And I put up something yesterday while I was kind of unpacking it, but I couldn't unpack it right. So I just put it out there. I was like, this, y'all want to hear about this? I can do a video on it. It's going to take me a while to be able to, I got to think about it, and then I got to
Right.
put it out to simplify it. And I talked about how, a lot of women choose jobs that matches their dysfunction, and,
Mm.
and, and it plays into their trauma from their childhood, which is why they always traumatize that work. It's because you picked a career that was based on your trauma. And so I had a client a couple of years ago who, her mom, they didn't have money. And so she when she got a government job, she didn't really like the job, but she stayed
Mm.
because it was secure. And she
Right.
didn't want to be hungry no more. So she remembers what it's like to be hungry. She didn't
Mm.
want to be hungry. So before she take risks, in her mind, she would be like this: am I going to be hungry? So she always played small, 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 because she didn't want to be hungry. But she got money stacked in the bank. So her mind, she's thinking from the mind of the wounded child and not the adult.
Right.
So she don't really know that she got hundreds of thousands of dollars saved in the bank. She's not even acknowledging it because she don't want to be hungry. She chose a man in marriage because he was in the military. And military
Mm.
people are secure because you got the 20 years, and then you get the pension, and then you
Right.
get a check. Wives get a check. If you get a
Right.
divorce, does that make sense? Like everybody's paid. So
Hmm.
she chose a relationship, and the relationship was never about love. The relationship was, I don't want to be hungry. So when he left 20 years later, she mad because, and I was like, you ain't love that man. She's like, no, I didn't, but we had an understanding. So she made every decision in her life, and she was 50.
Mm.
Like 48, she's in her 50s now. But every decision in her life was made out of, am I going to be hungry? So
Mm.
she just played small, played it safe, and was freaking miserable. Oh, she's real free now. She's killing the game.
Free,
So,
free.
oh,
So tell me about this. When someone reaches out to you and they want to become your client, what does that intake process look like? What are the things that you're evaluating them for to see if they'd be a good fit for you?
one, we have an application where we, check out their mindset. Like, what you want to work on? What is your willingness to change? Some people are like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your willingness to change? People be like 1. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, right? I did an interview yesterday. This lady was like, Christy, how can people call you if they want to dip their toe in? Well, ain't no toe dippers over here. Don't call me. If you a
Right.
toe dipper, if it's gonna work,
We're going
either
head
can
first.
you agree? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I really want, before you even get on the phone, there is an application process to see whether or not you want to change. And then, have you engaged in personal development in the past? And do you have the capacity to be able to invest in yourself at this moment? Otherwise, what we just going to get on the phone and play Uno, right? And I'm not knocking it, but it's like you got to be willing to dig deep. And so I know some people, who make $85,000 a year, they paying full. And I know women who make $300,000 and they ain't got no money because
Right.
they blow their money dressing up their brokenness, right? And it can be the same, it can be the same childhood of not having any money and
Right.
being the dirty kid, right? Or not having any clothes. So the woman who makes 300 is going to go blow all her money to look like she has money,
Right.
because she wants people to know she has money. And you're going to have another woman who's the opposite. And so the spectrum is going to go here or it's going to go here, where she's not going to spend any money because she doesn't want to ever run out of money. So she wears, drives a 30-year-old car and wears 20-year-old clothes,
Right.
and buy stuff from the thrift market, but she got money stacked, but in her mind is never caught up. So a part of the intake process is to figure out where is your thinking rooted. And so I was reading a book today, Money Loves Happy People. Not Money Loves Happy People, that's my new book that's coming out one day. It's gonna be so good. uh, um Whatever it's called, it's over there somewhere. Oh, a Happy Pocket Full of Money. And he said, what is your sponsoring thought? You have a sponsoring thought and you have a sponsored thought. The sponsoring thought is just like I talked about. The sponsoring thought is I never want to be hungry again. Now the thought is they're not paying me enough and I'm not making any money. But in the middle is I'm not going to ask for any money, because the sponsoring thought is, if you ask for money, if you ask for a raise and they fire you, you're going to be hungry. So they're not going to ask at all.
Right.
So yeah, I just asked the question. I mean, it's a trade secret on what my process is to be able to develop what your trauma default is, but that's my gift. And I can link all the issues that you're going through today and all the challenges and all the complaining that you do about your job. I can link it all the way back to your childhood. And now like this. So you ready? And here's the thing: some women get angry when I tell them that they can be different. Some women get legitimately angry. I can feel the phone getting hot when I tell them that they can make more money, because they have become so comfortable with complaining that how dare I tell them that they can be happy? How dare I tell them that if they're sick that they can be healed? I mean, I have a one of my clients. She's 32. She stuttered since she was 3. Stuttered legit. She had high blood pressure. She had endometriosis and fibroids. And so they say 80% of Black women are going to develop fibroids before they're 50. And so every woman in her family has had a hysterectomy. Her grandmother, her mom, her aunts, her cousins. And so she adopted that narrative of this is going to be my life. So she had these surgeries. These fibroids are real raggedy. And I was like, hey, man, look, when you finish this program, and she didn't know she was crazy, which I love. I wrote that in her foreword. I was like, man, and I'm listening to her story. I said, there's no way you can be normal when walking around with all this trauma. What are you talking about? She's like, no, I'm good. I was like, you are not good. Now, I didn't know she had high blood pressure. So I said, okay, in 90 days, we're going to run you through this program. You're not going to stutter anymore. Stress was creating the stuttering. Since she was 3, her mom was stressing her out because she's the apple of her mom's eye. There's a lot of pressure being, like who dresses up.
You got to live up to.
And then, so now she just wrote her own book called Release the Pressure, releasethepressurebook.com. But she healed completely. So she don't have fibroids. She don't have endometriosis. She doesn't have high blood pressure. And she don't stutter no more. I let her talk for an hour and I be like this. Y'all know she's stuttered 6 months ago. People be like, what? So we're walking around adopting the limitations of what the data has told us that our life is, as opposed to creating our life. So that's what I was talking about. It's, that fork in the road is, okay, either I'm going to, because my pottery is shattered. Does that make sense? It's gone. It's dust. It's 1,000 pieces. So either I'm going to go put myself, I like to quote scripture and cuss, by the way. Either I'm going to go put myself on the potter's wheel and create a whole new reality for myself, or I'm going to stay in bondage and I know I'm a hostage and go and get a job and just stay miserable, as opposed to going for a life of adventure. And a lot of people, stay for security as opposed to just going to figure it out. So
that's powerful. I've been seeing that you've got a challenge that's coming up, right? I think it starts this weekend.
Yep.
It is, what is the name of your challenge? The Level Up with Christy challenge, right?
I don't have no challenge. I don't work with Myron Gold, but I think he's awesome though. Uh, I ain't see all the comments. These women are cracking me up.
They crazy, right?
Look, I just saw the comments. Stephen and Chili. So
I'm sorry, it's your virtual experience.
it's a virtual experience. You'd be like,
Yeah.
no, I like the challenge though, but I ain't in the challenge.
Okay.
So it's a 3-hour experience. So it's called How to Calculate Your Value in the Market. So I'm going to be sharing how to add another $50,000 to your salary in the next 90 days. Why not?
Mm.
Like, this is the thing. We've helped 40 women get over a 30% raise, at least a 30% raise in a pandemic. 13 women double their salaries, 9 women triple their salaries, and 4 sisters got 7-figure packages. So if I tell you if you're making $210,000 that you should be at 635, and I'm always right. Let's be clear. Okay? Let's be clear. I'm always right. Without getting another degree. You're already worth 635. Let's do the work to figure out why you don't know you worth 635. I'm clearly looking at you and I'm putting a price tag on your forehead, right? So, and that's I would say that's the challenge. The challenge is, do you believe me? Can we touch and agree? Can we say, I mean, women are making so far beneath their value that they're so freaking bored. $50,000 is freaking peanuts. I got women getting $140,000 sign-up bonuses over here because you're already worth it. How can we be in a great resignation and women can't get jobs? This is insane. I mean, listen to the narrative. We're in a great resignation. Millions of people have left their jobs and quit, and there are still no opportunities for women. How can we say, my hair is starting to dry, so it's starting to cut up, but how can we say, now I'm starting to sweat like a preacher. How can we say that there is no money and that we're in a recession and that we're going to run out of money when the Good Times picture sold for $25 million? They found something like Picasso that sold for $24 million. It was a man and his wife they've been collecting art apparently for like the past 60 years. They sold their collection of a portion of their collection of artwork for $922 million. Somebody got money. So don't be telling me that we're limited. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Show me the money. Don't be saying, be mad at Jeff Bezos for making $1 trillion. Jeff Bezos can make $1 trillion, but you can't make 500,000. Like, come on, man. Let's do the math on that. Stop believing the hype that there is no money and the rich keep getting richer. Don't be mad at who is it? Was it a gas company that ended up posting like insane profits?
Every gas.
And everybody's mad, but people are working at this company. Your company just quadrupled its profits. And everybody's like, oh my God, the gas companies are taking advantage of us. Okay, but are the people in corporate going to be able to benefit from the quadruple profits? So your company is making money. You just haven't figured out how to get that money out of their hands and into your household. That's on you.
Right.
That's it's insane. So don't be telling me, now I'm yelling. Don't be telling me that as a Black woman, I should expect to get fibroids because 80% of women do. Well, what did the 20% do? Right? Don't be telling me in the pandemic they were like, Black women gonna lose the most. How you know I'm gonna lose? Do you know me? I've invested $200,000, probably $500 at this point, $200,000 in coaching. I had so much momentum coming in 2020. There's no way I'm gonna lose. So how am I to let somebody dictate I'm going to lose? So you choose what you believe. Black women gonna lose. 95% of Black women gonna lose. Well, I'm the 5%. They say 99 gonna lose. I said, well, I'm the 1%. They say all Black women gonna lose. I said, well, I'm gonna be the first one to win to show y'all that it's possible. So a part of my burning desire and what burns me up, y'all saw I got real loud, sat up, but is I'm reading all this stuff. McKinsey wrote a study and was like, Black and brown women gonna lose the most in the pandemic. I was like, oh, okay. We $10 million for sisters in a pandemic. Let's go ahead and shove the freaking data in their face.
Mm,
Um, so it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to. It's not what people call you and what the data says, it's what you raise your hand and what you believe. And are
mm,
you going to continue to believe and allow people to write a narrative for you, or are you gonna go live your life? Are you gonna be run by circumstances, or are you gonna create your circumstances? If you call me a loser, I mean it's straight up. It's no way Christy Rutherford gonna lose. Even when I was damn near in a wheelchair,
mm,
25, cried for a year. After a year, I said, okay, are you done crying? Okay, because get up, because you know that greater is calling you. Does that make sense?
mm.
Like, we got
Absolutely.
to stop allowing people to paint the narrative for what our lives are going to be. And we take control of the reins and take the wheel of the car of our life and go drive it in the way that we want to drive
I love it. I love it. So, if people want to get with you and learn how to calculate their value in the market and increase their salary by 50K, where can they go? Where can they go to be in
it.
attendance this weekend?
Level up with Christy.com. We're going to be in Chion on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Y'all join me. I can't wait. So you can text level up to 66866 if y'all are on your mobile device. Or you can go to levelupwithchristy.com. I love the whole show. I'm gonna be yelling just like this for 3 hours. Typically the event's like 5 hours. I mean screaming for 5 hours. But the thing about it is I it's a part of my mission now. I got it so wrong. Like when you burn out broke with no money in your brother's house,
Mm-hmm.
when you crack up and lose everything, I
Mm,
had a long time to think about all the stupid stuff that I did that didn't matter. All the volunteering for the DEI committee, and I'm bringing in the potlucks. I'm coordinating the Asian Pacific Islander Month and the Black History Month, and I'm fighting for the people, and I'm doing all these things, and doing my job and
man.
mentoring a lot of people. So all of that stuff is not necessary. My clients, when they get promoted, they become bored because
Mm,
they're not doing everything. They only doing the right thing. Women
mm,
out there doing 20 things to be promoted, you only need to do one. And we
mm.
can't keep mad at Tony, Jeff, and Jim, right? We can't, because they feel entitled. Why don't you feel entitled,
Mm,
right? You can't be getting mad at Peter because Peter feels entitled and privileged. Who told you that you wasn't entitled and privileged?
right, right.
Right? Like we adopt this whole we look for. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let it go because I think you're trying to run me out of here. We adopt the language of limitations that corporate has put on us.
Mm-hmm.
Corporate has a language of limitations. I read these articles, which is insane to me because in the military, we got our own challenges, but they don't write articles saying that women are gonna lose because we're right beside them because if we lose, they're gonna die.
Mm,
Does that
mm.
make sense? Like,
Yeah. It's life or death.
because in the military, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Ain't no way they're gonna be trying to punk us if we
Right.
beside them. Like, we don't have that stuff. And I came out and I'm reading this stuff. They talking about women, and women are wearing it as like, oh my God, I got the imposter syndrome. Oh, I saw this article that was like, they should corporate America should embrace introverted black women. No, they shouldn't. You ain't introverted, you playing small. You just
Mm.
tired of fighting. You're exhausted, so you just stop talking. That's not introverted.
Scared.
You don't want to go out with them. You don't like the mofos at work. You're surely not going to go play golf with them and go to lunch with them.
Right.
You're not introverted. You're just playing small.
Right.
So we have to stop. It's so much trickery that's going on in the media that will every day that will give women and men and brothers a reason to lay on the bottom and just stay there. I don't
Mm,
believe nothing. You don't tell me how my life is going to go. That's between me and God.
mm,
It is going to be great.
mm, mm. Christy, uh, you are very high energy. They're loving your energy. They say your energy is giving life in the comments.
Yeah, yeah. I
They say you
mean,
you took
you
them to
know,
church.
I apologize for. I promise you, I had two appointments on my calendar. I was walking
Nah,
around the
it's
house
cool.
too. I was like this. Do, 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 do.
Nah, it's
And I checked
totally
the
cool.
email. I said, "Oh God!" So,
It's totally
so
cool
yeah, I appreciate everybody who stayed on to get this sermon
for
while
sure.
I was drinking my wine and mildly cussing. I only cussed 3 times, but I really just want people to know that we need to stop thinking that our lives and our destiny are in the hands of other people because
Mhm.
we become loyal to jobs. And I was reading on LinkedIn earlier today that a lady was like, oh, she was put up a picture of a meme of a guy crying, was like, Twitter laid me off. Your job don't give a shit about you. They do not,
Right. Right.
right? One, oh, Twitter laid me off and I'm scared. I was like, how about you remember how great you are?
Mm.
How about that? How about you remember how great you are and know that a company will be lucky to have you with your 15 years of intellectual property and
Absolutely.
your untapped potential? Why don't you go shake the dust for your feet and move on? So it's 375 comments of, oh, you're so sweet. I can't believe this happened to you. Oh, I hate Twitter. They wrong. So they're
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
supporting her
Yeah.
in her fear. Nobody is telling her, girl, get up,
Right.
shake the dust from your feet and carry on. Right. So
Absolutely.
we have to start to create a new conversation around what's possible and stop complaining about stuff and go change stuff. Stop saying that, oh, my company's not going to pay me any money. Well, go find a company who will.
Yeah. I think too many times, like, people feel this false sense of security when they have a job, right? And
Even
I
in the
tell
government.
people, like,
That's the
it's,
worst. The
it,
worst. But go ahead.
it ain't no such thing as job security, because if a job dislikes you enough, I don't care how long you've been there, how much you make, and how much of an asset you feel you are, they will get rid of you.
Oh, and we deal with trade. They don't a job. Nobody owes you anything.
Absolutely. And on the flip side, no matter how incompetent and how terrible of an employee you are, if a job wants to keep you, they will move heaven and earth to keep you. Because I think we've seen it happen. We've all worked with people who, like, how is he still working? How does
Yeah.
she still have a job?
Well, I've had clients who have doubled their salaries by going to get ready to get another
Different
job, and they come to me like, hold on, right? Like it's like if somebody I was talking to, she was like, well, my company can't live without me. Instead of saying they can't live without me, so if I ask for a raise and they get mad, they not gonna like me, as opposed to saying, you know what? If
Mhm.
they can't live without me, I want to get my money.
It's a
Does that
stick
make
up.
sense? Instead of saying, oh, I'm the foundation to everything, Jim and Jeff and Tony, they can't survive without me. So I got to work 80 hours a week. I have to be available for them on Saturday night at 10 o'clock at night and Sunday at 6. I can't go to church because I can't worship the Lord because they need me. As opposed to saying, they need me. They can't do this without me.
Mm.
Give me my money or I'm stepping. I'm going to bounce and I'm going to go and I'm going to find somebody who's going to pay me my value. So when my client had her company come back and offer to double her salary in 3 days, I said, well, what did that teach you? She said, they told me for 3 years that it would take 3 months for them to do it. But when she went and found another opportunity, they got that paperwork done in 3 days.
Mm.
So she didn't fall for the okie doke. She ended up leaving, but she had a choice on whether or not she was going to stay or whether or not she's going to leave. And so a
Yeah.
lot of times women take jobs, where you have another $10,000. That ain't to come up. Like you gonna
Right.
leave your job for $10,000. You're gonna leave this one set of haters. Gonna be a new set of haters. At least you can
Right.
predict these haters. So if you're going to leave a job, at least leave for at least $50,000 to $100,000. Like otherwise, why are you leaving? Like I had a client who moved across country for a pay cut, thinking that she was going to do less work. So now
Mm.
you leave your position of being a queen bee, and now you're gonna go be a worker bee. Like the people who work at $65,000 work harder than the people who work at 275. The
Absolutely.
people who making $90,000 definitely work harder than the people who making $600,000. So
Absolutely.
why do you think that making less money is going to be your path to your burnout of working less? And now you went from being Mufasa on the mountain to going into the hyena den talking about how y'all doing, y'all like me, and wonder why they, scratching your butt and clawing your freaking hair out.
Right. Right. Man, well, thank you, Christy. I love it. It's been a great conversation. Your energy's super high. Definitely gonna have you back on here, and we'll start at a mutually agreed upon time.
Yes, I had
Um,
two. I had two. I'm gonna give it to you.
it's cool.
Yep.
It's
One of
all
them is more.
love. Look more legit, right? Um, I look forward to seeing you again. If you're ever in Dallas, please feel free to hit me up. And thank you for your time.
All right, definitely appreciate you inviting me. It was great meeting you. I like to meet people who engage my content. I just like to meet people in general, but definitely, I appreciate you and the platform that you created to be able to share insight with other people on how to be greater and how to really there's infinite potential and infinite money that is available to us, but we just need to get into alignment and make ourselves a priority and then go get what's already ours. You don't have to fight for
Absolutely.
what's yours. Just own it.
Absolutely. Just go claim it. That's it. Thank you, Christy. You
Bye
have a
y'all.
wonderful, wonderful evening. Thanks everybody for joining us. Again, scrumlife.com. You guys send a message to Christy on LinkedIn. Hit her up on her website. You guys join her program that she's having this weekend. Again, you guys can go to, what's the website again, Christy? Oh no. Levelupwithchristy.com. That's what it is. Levelupwithchristy.com. Y'all go to levelupwithchristy.com to join her program for this weekend so that you can learn. I see some folks in the chat wondering how they can make $40K more. Hit up the website. Talk to Christy. Have a conversation with her.